I am going to start today's presentation with a story. When we were first putting this project together in late 2012, early 2013, people said to me, I was crazy. We were crazy. Gold was on the way down. There wasn't a whole lot of interest in gold exploration properties. Cannabis and crypto were the investment opportunities of choice. And the best one was there was no gold north of the break. Right around that time, Cote Lake, Trelawney sold their Cote Lake project to IAMGOLD for over $600 million, more than 7 million ounces. And in that same year, Queenston sold their Upper Beaver deposit and their huge land package to a Cisco for over $500 million. And then in 2015, Probe sold their Borden Lake project to Goldcorp. Over 4 million ounces. They sold that for over $500 million. What did these three projects have in common? They all found gold off the break and in places where people told them they weren't going to find gold. And that's what we want to do. We want to be the next exploration company that finds a gold deposit off the break in the Abitibi. So we believe that Warrior Gold's Goodfish Corona project is not just a great investment opportunity, but it's an opportunity to be part of an exciting story. So I hope you agree. And with that, I'm going to go into the story. This is my forward-looking statement. I will definitely be making those. So today I'm going to tell you about the asset, why we think it's so great, some of our results that prove that it's pretty great, and then I'll tell you about our team and our capital structure. So first, we're in the Abitibi Greenstone Belt. The Abitibi is one of the richest and highest grade greenstone belts in the world. They found over 200 million ounces of gold in this belt to date, and 40 million of those ounces have been mined from the Kirkland Lake camp. We're in a 100-year-old mining camp being next door to Kirkland Lake. And to top it all off, we're in Canada, still one of the top 10 mining jurisdictions in the world. We're 6 hours from downtown Toronto. Means year-round access, pretty fantastic. I will say, and I'm very grateful that COVID has not hindered any of our work in the past year. Our land package is 5 kilometers from the downtown Kirkland Lake. That means all the infrastructure is in place. There's skilled workforce, commercial center, water, hydro, all of that. And people get to go home at night, do their own laundry, cook their own meals, live with their families. So we're not building camps. We're not negotiating helicopter contracts. All of your exploration dollars go into the ground. Agnico Eagle, great Explorco mining company, a neighbor, and Kirkland Lake Gold, the famous Kirkland Lake Gold, also another neighbor. So the third thing we love about this, I'm just going to go back because I forgot to tell you that we love also the size of this project. It's 11.5 kilometers long and 3.5 kilometers wide. And that is like going from Wall Street to Central Park. Very big land package. And I should say that we shouldn't underestimate consolidating a significant land package in a world-class mining camp right next to a town. Landowners believe that they have the next discovery. So they hang on to their land. And the credit for consolidating this land package goes to Tom O'Connor, a local prospector. He got 6 different landowners together and they optioned the property in early 2013. The geological potential of the property, finding gold north of the break, goes to Gary Grabowski and Tom Nealance. They're the ones that incentivized me to move forward with this opportunity. So this is the regional geology and probably the most important reason why you want to why we love this project. The property is hosted in the Blake River mafic volcanics. Those are the same rocks as the Upper Beaver, which is 15 kilometers to the east of us. Agnico Eagle is putting that into the production right now. We are just north of the Temiskaming Unconformity, and we are 6 kilometers north of the Cadillac Larder Lake Deformation Zone. The Cadillac Larder Lake Deformation Zone is a crustal scale structure. It's 200 kilometers long. It goes 15 kilometers deep. It's thought to be the main plumbing system that brings up the fluids that are rich in gold and have made the deposits in the camp. Our property hosts 3 mineralized structures: the Crana Deformation Zone, the main break, which comes in and across the bottom, as well as the Victoria Creek Deformation Zone, which is the same structure that hosts the Upper Beaver deposit. As well, we have the Goodfish Mineralized Trend. This trend hosts historical gold mines from the 1930s, and the property hosts or has 18 historical pits and shafts. As well, the geophysics supports our belief that this is a great project. This is the Government of Ontario's aero mag map. Our property straddles overlies this interesting sigmoidal shape, magnetic shape. It's thought to be a package of volcanic rocks that have been folded and faulted, providing the sites for the gold to be deposited in. And this is our geological model. We are of the A zone shear. We are finding golds associated with structures and intrusives. We're also finding gold at the contacts between 2 different volcanic flows, and we find gold at the contacts with the intrusives, quartz feldspar porphyries, and the country rock. So this model is evolving as we drill more, but we're proving it out. Very typical of Archean shear-hosted gold deposits. And in 2019, Ben Friedman, who did his PhD at the Colorado School of Mines, demonstrated that the Crana break, which transects the property 6 to 8 kilometers long, is linked to the Larder Lake Cadillac Deformation Zone. It's a second-order structure, and we know that these structures all hooked up together move gold-rich fluids to the surface. And so thank you, Ben, because yes, there is gold north of the break. So we have, as I was saying, we believe in, we have a project that is in the right location, it's got a great size, got the right geology, got the right geophysics, and a whole lot of gold showing. So that's what we have, and these are our results, and this is the proof of the pudding. In 2018, when we became a publicly traded company, we flew a high-resolution airborne magnetic survey, and that's what you're looking at here. This is the first vertical derivative. So we flew our geophysics at tighter spacing, 50 meters apart, closer to the center of the Earth, or closer to the surface of the Earth, in order to get a higher resolution. The higher resolution helped us define the structures as well as the gold zones. And we did that, and then we put 5 short drill holes into the Goodfish trend. That was to get a sense of what's going on mineralogically. We also did a structural review of the LIDAR to get a better understanding of what was going on structurally. And we had prospectors and geological mappers on the property. At the end of that year, with all of that data, and then all of the data in the data room, or 3D, we got everybody together in a room, the geologists, geophysicists, structural geos, and we sat down for a targeting exercise. And the idea was to decide what criteria were the most important for where were we going to drill? Where were we going to start drilling? This property, as I mentioned, is 11.5 kilometers long by 3 wide. So that's like Wall Street to Central Park. And all we're looking for in here are several Empire State Buildings worth of gold. And to find that when you're drilling with a small drill, it takes a certain amount of discipline. So the group sat down, picked out all the criteria. We came up with 22 different targets, and the A zone and the C zone floated to the top of that list. The A zone floated to the top of the list because there was an intersection of 12.5 meters that ran 17 grams. And the C zone also had very good high grades at surface. As well, there were historical workings at the A zone. There's 2 shafts that date back to the 30s. One is 300 meters long, the other, or 300 meters deep. The other is 600 meters deep. They're interconnected with 1,000 feet of lateral workings. We don't have any production numbers from that time, but we do know from a Northern Miner report that they took out a half rail car, which we figure is to be about 40,000 tons of ore, to cobalt, and they processed it, and it graded 1.25 ounces per ton. So we've advanced the project. We've got 22 targets, and our focus is on the A and the C zone, and I'm going to tell you more about those right now. This is a summary of the work that we've done to date. It's very detailed. You can find this table on our website. The long and short of it is we've only drilled 11,000 meters on the property. Most of our drilling has focused on the A zone because it's so interesting. The other targets have just had a couple of test holes on them. We're very pleased with the work that we have done here. We are batting 9 for 10. 90% of the holes that we drill here have intersected anomalous or high-grade gold. So that's where we're batting 9 for 10 here. And I like to say, who gets to do that? I mean, you do get to do that in the Abitibi when you have a great team that's picking your targets. So it's still really, really early days for us, but we have built on our historical data. We are advancing our geological model with our drilling, and we are evolving our interpretation. So next slide, I'm going to show you are the results that we've got from the A zone and the C zone, just an idea of how productive this system is. This is the first vertical derivative magnetic map. And in this area, it shows you where the C zone is with respect to the A zone. This contact here is defined by geophysics and also by geochemistry. It's the contact between the iron tholeiites and the magnetic tholeiites. Essentially, though, our last program, which you'll see here in the blue numbers, expanded the A zone by an additional 350 meters. So it's now 650 meters long, and it's still open at depth. And the C zone up here, which hasn't seen nearly enough work, is just 300 meters to the north, but it also has the same kind of trend as the A zone. These are on the left, some of our intersections of our highlights of gold, high grades over mineable widths, both at the A zone and at the C zone. And in our program in the fall of 2019 and 2020, we intersected another new zone. The mineralization, the gold occurred in completely different rocks than the A zone shear. And I'm going to show you both of those in a second. So this is our geological interpretation of the A zone. This contact here is defined by geochemistry and structure. This is the iron tholeiites in the north, the magnesium tholeiites to the south. These are the deformation zones. There are many of them. You can see it's quite complex, interesting, a lot of gold. All these dots are a lot of gold. And our mineralization is still open at depth. And of course, the story is complicated a little bit with intrusives, but it's always good to see intrusives coming into your geological setting. So the next slide I'm going to show you is from the to the A prime. We're going to do a long section. It's like cutting into a cake and looking into the center of the earth. And this is the long section. And why we started at the A zone, this is where the 17 meters of 12, 17 grams of 12.5 meters was drilled in the 90s. These are the historical workings. You can see this is our high grade, our high grade core zone. We've expanded our mineralized zone and even more. And the dots are our holes and the squares are historical holes. You can see that we're drilling still relatively shallow for the Abitibi. Why is that important? That's important because the Abitibi does get richer as it gets as you go deeper, and I'm going to show you that in the next slide. But our mineralization is still open at depth, and we have many more targets down there to drill. So the Abitibi gets richer as it gets deeper. This is an illustration of that. On the left-hand side, you can see the 6 mines that are 8 kilometers to the south of us on the Kirkland Lake main break. And this represents 100 years of mining and 25 million ounces of gold, which is a significant amount of gold. This is where Macassa, Kirkland Lake Gold, is mining right now. They're down 2.2 kilometers, and they're taking out gold that grades at 17 grams per ton and even richer. And this is our property to the north, just on the just 8 kilometers to the north. You can tell that it's still relatively underexplored and very much early days for Warrior Gold. This is our geological interpretation of the C zone right now. This is a contact that defines the magnetic boundary. These are the iron tholeiites on the right-hand side and undifferentiated on the left, volcanics on the left-hand side. When we first started drilling here, we were drilling here because we had these incredible gold grades at surface, 144 grams per ton, 53 grams per ton. Those were collected by our prospectors. We started drilling here at perpendicular to stratigraphy because that's what you do. And then in our last 2 drilling campaigns, we decided to turn the rig around and drill into the geophysical structures. And again, it's still really early days, and we're still we're still trying to understand what's going on here. But the grades are interesting, and the trend parallel to the A zone trend again is very interesting. So as I mentioned earlier, we have, when we went through that targeting exercise, the A zone and the C zone floated to the top for obvious reasons, but we identified 20 other targets. And these are some of the historical numbers that we found in the government records. And we are looking very much forward to advancing these through the exploration pipeline. So this project doesn't just have the opportunity to find one deposit. We believe that we have the opportunity to find many. So a geological or a presentation would not be complete without looking at the rocks. This is a short section of the A zone shear through the mineralized zone. What you're looking at here is and just so y'all know, geologists get really excited when they see these kind of rocks because they know that they're in an active system. What you're seeing here is sheared and altered mafic volcanics that grade into these altered, sheared, intruded, brecciated, mineralized zone back out into the sheared and altered quartz feldspar porphyry. And in here, in this dark zone, you will find silica and fine-grade sulfides that carry a lot of the ore. So the Val 1 zone, in contrast to the A zone shear, the rocks look relatively undeformed. This is the intersection that we drilled. We reported 74 meters of 1.2 grams per ton. The gold is being carried in the quartz feldspar quartz calcite veinlets. They are extensional. It looks extensional. This is still a new zone for us, and we're working to understand it better. And of course, visible gold. We get to see visible gold, and it's always great to see visible gold. But as a good friend of mine said to me, big deal, visible gold in the Kirkland Lake camp. Everybody and their sister has a quartz vein with visible gold or a rock. The key in the Abitibi and in the Kirkland Lake camp is finding the zones where the structures intersect and blow out. So that's super key, but it's always nice to see gold. So we have the team. I believe we have the team that is going to help us take this property to fruition. Steve Burleton is a CFA. He was on the team that sold the Richmont mine, he was on the Richmont Mines team that sold the Island Mine to Alamos Gold. He was recently CEO of GT Gold. Gary Nassif is a PGO. He was on the team at Côté that sold that deposit on to IM Gold. He's currently the VP at Jarrett Canyon, which has just been sold to First Majestic. And Pete Winnell, who pretty much gets credit for getting me into this story, used to run a boutique investment firm. A boutique investment firm that specialized in the mining and exploration space. Well connected, and he knows the street very, very well. Our technical team has a tremendous amount of experience. I'd like to say we managed to connect people who have our seasoned boots on the ground with the younger generation, tech savvy, and we have the full range, full diversity here. Melissa has been our principal geologist since all the data got into the 3D space. She's guided us through all of our drilling programs. She's very intuitive and smart young woman. And Jean-Philippe Paiement has just joined us from Mira Geoscience. He has an incredible amount of experience in the Abitibi. He led the team that won the the Integra Gold Rush Challenge. I'm thinking of something else. And so we're looking forward to him reviewing and helping us with our data. Always good to have another set of eyes on what you're doing. We have a great team of advisors and consultants that we draw on when we need them. Sue Lomas is resource geologist, worked for Amex. She's worked on several projects I've worked on. Dr. Tom Setterfield, he did the very first 43-101. I won't go through all of them, but Bill Dorner's brilliant geophysicist, and Bill McGinty and Gary Grabowski and Linda and David, and Malcolm, all fabulous people to have on the team. And so that takes us to our capital structure. We have 92 million shares out, 108 shares fully diluted. Right now we're trading at 7.5, 8 cents. So our market cap is $7.5 million. Management and insiders have 9% of the company. We're very much aligned with our shareholders. I own 7% of those shares. I have earned all of my shares, paid for them. I participate in the financings, and I buy in the open market. So our goal is to make a discovery. Why are we so undervalued right now? I don't know. I'd like to say we're not alone. There's a lot of junior companies with great projects in the Abitibi that are undervalued. But for Warrior Gold, our focus has been on developing our story. So our money has gone into the ground. I've always said we wanted to have a story to tell rather than tell a story. And now we have a story to tell. So we are going to start taking on the marketing in a much bigger sense. So I think Warrior Gold makes a makes the case as a great investment opportunity. Geologically, we got the right kind of rocks. We've got 3 major targets. The property has been underexplored. We've only drilled to shallow depths. We're in a 100-year-old mining camp that's produced 40 million ounces of gold to date. That tap doesn't turn off. And we are in Canada, which is still one of the best mining jurisdictions in the world. All the infrastructure is in place. We've got a good relationship with our First Nations people, and we have good mining neighbors. Our board, we've got the right team. Our board has joined us because they see the potential in making a discovery. They didn't join because of me. They joined because they see how prospective this property is. And I'll say that that's the same goes for our technical team. They haven't joined just for a paycheck. They've joined because they can see that they can put their name on a discovery. So great investment opportunity. We don't think this property hosts just one deposit. We think it's got the potential for several. If you haven't checked out our video, we have a corporate video. It's 3 minutes long. Tells the story I've just told you in much shorter time about the prospectivity of this asset. And so don't forget to send an email to info@warriorgoldinc.com if you would like a hat. And you can reach out to myself or Dan Rodriguez. We look forward to speaking with you. We really look forward to meeting with you. And if you have any other questions, I know this was short, but I'm happy to take them.
Danielle, thank you so much for a great presentation, very in-depth and well-rounded. Absolutely love your energy, and of course, swag always goes a long way. We've already had some great comments in the chat section, so thank you for offering that. At this point, we have a great lineup of questions that have come in during your presentation, so I will just start lobbing them one by one, and we'll go from there.
Okay, let me have a sip of water.
Absolutely. How about I speak a little more slowly for our first
Thank
question?
you.
Absolutely.
Oh my God, that's such an incredibly long time to keep talking, you know?
I understand. The curiosity here in the treasury section for the company, how much is in the treasury, and do you have enough to fund your exploration plans in the near term?
No, we don't. So we have about $300,000, and we will be going to market. And I would like to add to that, we raise money, we spend it in the ground. We raise money, we spend it in the ground. We've done that 3 times. And we're very lucky that our exploration costs are reasonable in the Abitibi. But yeah, we have to go to market. We're exploration. That's our thing. We spend money, right? It's fun, but it's like, it's the biggest part of the job, I'd say. Finding the gold doesn't seem to be hard.
Well, it's fair and it's honest. I appreciate that. You brought this up in the conversation and presentation. Can you tell us more about Mira Geoscience and why you've engaged them?
Mira Geoscience, I met Mira Geoscience a long time ago when they were first forming, and they had this proprietary software where they were taking all of your geophysics, your geology, your geochemistry, and they were spinning it around in 3D. And that was super early days, 2014, when we didn't have that kind of money to undertake that kind of targeting exercise. Also, we didn't have the data to support it. And now we feel like we have the data to support that level of, it's AI, but that level of targeting. So we've done drilling, we've done geophysics. We're very confident that their spin on it is going to help us identify some deeper targets and some targets in the other parts of the property.
Thank you. Development through partnership. I appreciate that. A question comes in that says, when do you plan to drill on the Sutton claims that you acquired in 2020?
Oh, if I could tomorrow, I'd have a drill on everything. But we have a couple of teams in the field right now. They started work last week. So we acquired the Sutton claims because Mike Sutton he vended a couple of other claims into the project. We have not really had a chance to look at them on the ground, boots on the ground. We've got his data. It's in the digital world, but it really needs boots on the ground. So that's going to happen right now.
Great. Thank you for that. Well, let's stay in the drilling section of the questions. Will your next drill program focus on the A zone and drilling deeper?
Well, in part that I would love to. In part, though, that will come from the work that Mirror Geoscience does. We're going to go through a complete review of what we found at the A zone and at the C zone, and then obviously too that ties in with how much money you have and what's the most important thing. I'm going to say that one of the challenges of being a junior explorer co is that you have to work with the market. You can't work for it, but you have to work with it. And we love this property, and we love all the showings on this property, and would love to do a full-on exploration program on it. And it's the juggling between the two, what the market wants and what we want as scientists. So
it's a recipe at the very least, I'm sure. We'll stay in the drilling section as well. What are your drilling costs?
Drilling all in was last program, I'm going to say, just because the demand right now is so high. Very hard to get a drill, very hard to get your samples through the lab. But our drilling costs were around $250 to $275 a meter, and that's all in. We throw in geologists, assays, geotechnicians, accommodations, the full package. There's an upside to having a project that's right beside the road. The drillers, the geologists can order pizza from town and have it delivered to the office. So it's pretty
always a good criteria. Thank you for that.
Well, it's pretty sweet logistically.
Yeah, I understand. You mentioned in your presentation, Danielle, the relations with First Nations are very good. What does that mean exactly? This is Upper Beaver Creek, I understand.
Yeah, it's Beaver House First Nations. When I first started putting this story together as a private co in 2013, I went to Beaver House First Nations. They have the territorial rights over this district. And I just started working with them right then. We haven't signed any agreements, but we have a level of trust and understanding that stems from 2013. So I check in with them all the time. They know exactly what I'm doing, and it's a history. It's a relationship. It's not signed documents. So
I appreciate that. Good energy, though. Can you tell me, will Warrior acquire more property in the area?
Well, we'd like to. But I mean, of course, we would like to acquire more area, but we have 22 of our own targets to explore. We've got the Carana Deformation Zone that's 6 to 8 kilometers long, the Kirkland Lake Break, the Victoria Creek Fall. We have a lot of our own showings. So when people say that, it's like, I would love to acquire more ground, but with it has to come some money to explore it properly, to do it justice.
Fair. Great answer. Do you think one of the larger groups in the area, such as Kirkland Gold or Neo Eagle, will become more invested in the property as time goes on?
As time goes on, if we de-risk it. I was speaking to one of the geologists at one of the companies. I'm not going to say who it was, but he did say to me, well, if you have 22 targets, I have 3,000. So until you find something, my level of interest is non-existent. And you can understand it. It's the same answer I gave you. Would I like more ground? Of course I would. But I have 22 targets that need to be looked at, right? So
I understand. First thing first, I appreciate that very much. Curious if you're looking for any other metals, Danielle, other than gold on the property. Have you come across any other metals at all?
Yeah, on the east end of the property at St. Pierre, there are different base metals there. There's lead, zinc. There's also some silver, a high-grade silver number. And again, that's an area. It's been looked at, but it will be looked at again in the next weeks.
Okay. From time to time, there's a guest that comes across our path here, and your energy is so amazing. I have to ask you, what is your passion for this industry? Aside from the obvious, the business, the shareholders need to benefit, but you clearly have a passion for what you do.
Oh my God, Mark, what a question. I mean, being an exploration geologist is probably the best job you could ever have in your whole entire life, because it's like looking for buried treasure, but you get to do it, on the surface of the earth, outside every day. So I've been very fortunate in my career. I have worked in many different places, and I mean, how can you beat that, right? I worked in Venezuela, Cuba, Botswana, Ecuador, and looking for gold. So, we're on the front end of this. Once we find it, the engineers come and they mine it. And I get that engineers are great and special people, but the looking for the gold is way more fun, really.
I can hear it in the way you describe it. Thank you for that. I always like to ask someone in your position, looking forward to the next 12 to 18 months, are there any key target dates or highlights on the timeline that we should be watching with you?
Catalysts. Well, we are going to go to market and do a raise. It's summer in Northern Ontario. We would like to drill. We're very fortunate here, though, that we could drill from now until Christmas, and then we can start drilling again after Christmas. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, we're going to raise money. We're going to continue to explore, and we also are looking for a strategic partner. Mm-hmm. And there are people who are looking at us. So, those conversations are ongoing. This is a really big land package that deserves to be explored. And I hate to say properly, but majors have the unlimited time and funds to check out all the different smells. So, I'm not exactly sure, but we will go to market. We will continue. We will drill. Mira Geoscience is going to be our big, what the results come out of that exercise is going to be the most important.
Okay, I appreciate that. It's been a wonderful journey with you already. We've had some great questions from the audience, and we've had people tuning in from all over the world. So Danielle, thank you for your passion and your energy and sharing the details as you have. And may I say, you have quite the warrior energy yourself. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Oh, and can we just add that this really Beauty's logo was created by Joanne Jobin?
Oh, I did not know this. She has a shining in the background.
Yeah, so she is she's a natural, brilliant person. So anyway, I'm very proud of the fact that she actually put not just the logo together, but the name of the company. So
I love that bit of trivia. Thank you.
A little bit of insight, eh? A little bit of insight.
Absolutely. And I love hats, clearly. So this all works well.
Very good.
I appreciate it. Danielle, thank you for the time. We look forward to watching the company with you. And I know our audience really appreciates having a moment with you at the conference. Thank you so much for your time.